Hi students, welcome to lesson number 15, Features of the Caste System. Introduction. Sociologists have recognized three major types of social stratification: caste, estates and social class. Of these, caste system with all its peculiar features is to be found only in India. Estate system as a kind of stratification system existed in Europe during the medieval period. This is no more in existence now, but social classes are almost universal. They are found in all the civilized, industrialized and literate societies of the world today. These two stratification systems, that is caste and class, decide largely the position that a man occupies in society. The extent of social mobility is mostly conditioned by them. The range of one's social contacts is almost fixed by one's caste or class. They influence and condition to a very great extent the way of life of people or their lifestyles. The caste system, the joint family system and the village system of life are generally regarded as the three basic pillars of the Indian social system. The caste system as a form of social stratification is peculiar to India. The caste is an inseparable aspect of the Indian society. It is peculiarly Indian in origin and development. There is no comparable institution elsewhere in the world for the caste system. Now let us discuss about the objectives of this lesson. The main objectives of this lesson are: number 1, to discuss about the traditional characteristics or features of the caste system. Number 2, to discuss about the changing trends in the caste system in modern India. Origin of the word caste. The views of 𝗧𝗦𝗃𝗃 seem to be authentic regarding the origin of the word caste. According to him, the word caste is of Spanish and Portuguese origin. It has emerged from the Spanish word casta, which means lineage or race. The word casta is derived from the Latin word castus, which means pure. Definitions of caste. Caste is so complex a phenomena which is difficult to define. Writers and scholars are not unanimous in their opinion regarding caste, its emergence, definition, characteristics, etc. Bailey and 𝗵𝗏𝗧𝗏 have viewed castes as structures. Caste, Dutt and 𝗹𝗶 have given the characteristics of caste instead of defining it. Number 1, according to Caste, a caste is a group having two characteristics. Number 1, membership is confined to those who are born of members and includes all persons so born. Number 2, the members are forbidden by an inexorable social law to marry outside the group. Then D.N. Majumdar and T.N. Madan have said that caste is a closed group. According to 𝗧𝗦𝗃𝗃, When a class is somewhat strictly hereditary, we may call it a caste. According to A.W. Green, caste is a system of stratification in which mobility up and down that status ladder, at least ideally, may not occur. According to Sir Herbert Risley, caste is a collection of families bearing a common name, claiming a common descent from a mythical ancestor, human and divine, professing to follow the same hereditary calling and regarded by those who are competent to get an opinion as forming a single homogeneous community. Now let us discuss about the traditional characteristics of caste. The caste system is highly complex in nature. As Dr. 𝗳𝗧𝗧 says, any attempt to define caste is bound to fail because of the complexity of the phenomena. He describes 6 main characteristics of caste in his work Caste and Race in India. The following are the main traditional features of the caste system. Number 1, caste as a segmental division of society. The Hindu society is a caste-ridden society. It is divided into a number of segments called castes. It is not a homogeneous society. Castes are groups with a well-defined boundary of their own. The status of an individual is determined by his birth and not by selection nor by accomplishments. No amount of power, prestige and self can change the position of man. The membership of the caste is hence unchangeable, unacquirable, inalienable, unattainable and non-transferable. Further, each caste has its own way of life. Each caste has its own customs, traditions, practices and rituals. It has its own informal rules, regulations and procedures. Then second, caste as a hierarchical division of society. The Hindu society is a gradational one. It is divided into several small groups called castes and subcastes. A sense of highness and lowness or superiority and inferiority is associated with this gradation or ranking. The Brahmins are placed at the top of the hierarchy and are regarded as pure, supreme or superior. The degraded castes are the so-called untouchables or Harijans have occupied the other end of the hierarchy. Then third, restrictions on feeding and social intercourse. Under this we have two aspects. One is restrictions on food habits. The caste system has imposed certain restrictions on the food habits of the members. They differ from caste to caste, who should accept what kind of food and from whom is often decided by the caste. For example, in North India, a Brahmin would accept pakka food, that is cooked in ghee, only from some caste lower than his own. But he would accept kacha food prepared with the use of water at the hands of no other caste except of his own. As a matter of rule, and practice, no individual would accept kacha food prepared by a man of an inferior caste. Generally, any kind of food that is prepared by the Brahmin is acceptable to all the caste people. Then another one is restrictions on social relations. The caste system puts restrictions on the range of social relations also. The idea of pollution makes this point clear. It means a touch of a lower caste man would pollute or defile a man of higher caste. Even their shadow is considered to be enough to pollute a higher caste man. In Kerala, for a long time, a Nair could approach a Nambudri Brahmin, but would not touch him. Further, a Thiyan was expected to keep himself at a distance of 36 steps from a Brahmin, and a Pulayan, a scheduled caste, a distance of 96 paces. In Tamil Nadu, the Shanar Taddy Tapper was expected to keep a distance of 24 paces while approaching a Brahmin. This has resulted in the practice of untouchability. This practice has made the lower caste people to be segregated completely from the higher caste. Number 4, civil and religious disabilities and privileges of different sections. Social and religious disabilities of certain castes. In the traditional caste society, some lower caste people, particularly the Harijans, suffered from certain civil or social and religious disabilities. Generally, the impure castes are made to live on the outskirts of the city or the village. In South India, certain parts of the towns or the villages are not accessible to the untouchables. It is recorded that during the Peshwa rule in Maharashtra, the Mahars and Mangs, these two are so-called untouchable castes, were not allowed within the main gates of Pune before 9 a.m. and after 3 p.m. The reason was that during the time their bodies would cast too long shadows, which if were to fall on the Brahmins would defile them. Socially, Dalits or the so-called untouchables are separated from other members. Even today, in many places, they are not allowed to draw water from public wells. During the early days, public places like hotels, hostels, public lecture halls, schools, temples and theatres were not kept open for the lower caste people, particularly the Dalits. Entrance to temples and other places of religious importance was forbidden for them. Educational facilities, legal rights and political representation were denied to them for a long time. In South India, restrictions were imposed on the mode of constructing houses and on the pattern of ornamentation. The toddy tappers of Malabar were not allowed to carry umbrellas, to wear shoes or golden ornaments, and to milk cows. They were forbidden to cover the upper part of their body. Civil and religious privileges of certain castes. While the lower caste people suffer from certain disabilities, some higher caste people like the Brahmins enjoy certain privileges. Nowhere in the Brahmins suffered from the disabilities cited earlier. They are given more liberty because they are believed to be born pure and superior. The Brahmins never saluted others, but they always had the privilege of being saluted by others. They never even bowed to the idols of the lower caste people. Education and teaching were almost the monopoly of the higher caste people. Chanting the Vedic mantras was a great privilege of the Brahmins. The upper caste people in general enjoyed social, political, legal and religious privileges. Then fifth point is restrictions on occupational choice. In the caste-ridden society, there is a gradation of occupations also. Some occupations are considered to be superior and sacred, while certain others branded as degrading and inferior. For a long time, occupations were very much associated with the caste system. Each caste had its own specific occupation. The caste members were expected to continue the same occupations. Occupations were almost hereditary. Weaving, shoemaking, oil grinding, sweeping, scavenging, curing hides, tanning, washing clothes, barbering, pottery, etc. were considered to be somewhat degrading. Learning, priesthood and teaching were the prestigious professions which mostly the Brahmins pursued. Individual talents, aptitudes, interests, enterprise, abilities and achievements were neglected. But agriculture, trade and laboring in the field were thrown open to all the castes. At the same time, no caste would allow its members to take up to any profession which was either degrading or impure. Then sixth point is restrictions on marriage. The caste system imposes restrictions on marriage also. Caste is an endogamous group. Endogamy is a rule of marriage according to which an individual has to marry within his or her group. Each caste is subdivided into several subcastes which are again endogamous. Intercaste marriages were strictly forbidden then. Even at present, intercaste marriages have not become popular. Violation of the rule of endogamy was strictly dealt with during the early days. This rule of endogamy has resulted in close inbreeding. Some writers like Hutton regards endogamy as the very essence of the caste system. Then seventh point is caste panchayats. During the early days, in every village, every caste used to have its own caste panchayat. It consisted of 5 chosen senior members who enjoyed much social privilege and respect. The caste panchayat used to perform a number of functions among which the following may be noted. Number 1, caste panchayat used to make the members comply with caste rules and regulations. Number 2, settling caste disputes and giving its final verdict on the issues referred to it were also its functions. Number 3, it gave punishments to those who violated caste rules and obligations. Number 4, matters such as breaking the marriage promise, refusal on the part of the husband to take the wife to his house, cruelty to wife, adultery on the part of wife, killing the cows, insulting the Brahmins, having illicit sex relations with other caste people, etc., were dealt with by the caste panchayats. Fifth one is, it used to give punishments such as arranging dinner party for the fellow caste men, imposing fine, purification, pilgrimage, outcasting, etc. for the offenders. Sixth point, the caste panchayat was also striving to promote the welfare of the caste members. Safeguarding the interests of the caste members was yet another function of the panchayat. These caste panchayats have become weak and ineffective nowadays. The sociological perspective views the caste system in terms of social stratification in a society and as a phenomena of social inequality. According to it, society has certain structural aspects and it distributes its members in social positions. Caste as a system refers to interrelated and patterned interaction among castes in terms of collectivity is restrictions, namely restrictions on change of membership, occupation, marriage and commensal relations. In viewing caste as a system, there is a presupposition that no caste can exist in isolation and that each caste is closely involved with other castes in the network of economic, political and ritual relationships. As a cultural phenomena, caste may be viewed as a set of values, beliefs and practices. Most of the scholars have viewed caste as a solidarity and not as a set of values and attitudes. The structure of caste could be discussed by analyzing its important features. Bogle has postulated three elements of caste, namely hereditary specialization, hierarchy and repulsion or opposition. Hocart has emphasized on ritual purity and impurity, while Risley has referred to endogamy and hereditary occupation. Ghurye, Hutton, Ketker, Dutt, etc. have also pointed out all these features. According to M.N. Srinivas, J.H. Hutton, S.V. Ketker and Dutt, the characteristics of caste system are as follows. Number 1, ascribed status. The membership of an individual in a caste is determined by his birth. Number 2, hierarchy based on birth. no two castes have an equal status. One caste has either a low or a high status in relation to other castes. Third one, endogamy. The members of a caste have to marry in their own caste and subcaste. Endogamy has been permanently enforced within caste groups. Fourth, fixed occupation. Each caste has a fixed hereditary occupation. Fifth, commensal restrictions. Detailed rules are laid down with regard to the kind of food that can be accepted by a person from different castes. According to Blunt, there are 7 important taboos in this respect. Number 1, commensal taboo, which determines rules regarding persons in whose company a man may eat. Number 2, cooking taboo, which lays down rules regarding persons who may cook food that a man may eat. Third, eating taboo, which prescribes rituals to be observed at the time of eating. Fourth, drinking taboo, which prescribes rules regarding accepting water, etc. from others. Then sixth point, compelling religious sanctions on social participation. Restrictions on social interaction have been imposed because of the belief that pollution can be carried by mere bodily contact. It is because of such beliefs that the low caste people engaged in inferior occupations are avoided by upper caste people. Seventh point, the outcast substratum. Castes engaged in defiling or menial or polluting occupations are treated as untouchables. They are called outcasts, depressed classes or scheduled castes. They mostly live outside the village and eke out their existence by labor like scavenging, shoemaking, tanning, etc. They are not permitted to draw water from wells used by the upper caste people. They are even debarred from the use of public roads, schools, temples, cremation grounds, hotels and tea shops. However, many of the prohibitions imposed on the outcasts have now been relaxed. Then eighth point, caste councils. Each caste has a council of its own known as caste panchayat. This panchayat exercised tremendous power over its members till recently. Even in the British period, these panchayats were so powerful that they could retry cases which were once decided by the civil and the criminal courts. In a way, a caste panchayat was a semi-sovereign body. The officials of the panchayat who perform executive and judicial functions may either be nominated or elected or may be hereditary, or some may be elected while others may be hereditary. Now let us discuss about caste system in present India, changing trends. After the political independence of the country in 1947, besides industrialization and urbanization, other factors which affected the caste system are merger of various states, enactment of several laws, spread of modern education, socio-religious measures and movements, westernization, growth of modern professions, spatial mobility and the growth of the market economy. Broadly speaking, the following changes in caste functioning may be pointed out in the present times. Caste system is not in the process of abolition, but is making adequate adjustment with modern changes. The religious basis of caste has cramped. Old social practices of imposing restrictions of varied types have dwindled. Caste no longer restricts newly valued individual freedom. Caste no longer determines the occupational career of an individual, though his social status continues to be dependent on his caste membership. Serious efforts are being made to grant equality to the backward castes and Dalits. Intercaste conflicts are increasing. However, these are more for achieving power than on grounds of ritual status. Casteism has increased. The Jajmani system in the villages has weakened, affecting intercaste relations. The dominance of a caste in village no longer depends upon its ritual status. Caste and politics have come to affect each other. On the one hand, some caste organizations have strengthened, while on the other hand, a large number of castes have lost their group solidarity and a sense of responsibility. Caste no longer acts as a barrier to social progress and to nations' development. India is on the move in spite of the caste system. The castes and subcastes together make up the Hindu social system. Still, in some respects, each caste is isolated from the other. It is in a way semi-sovereign. The castes are a complete world in themselves for their members. The members are expected to be loyal to the caste. Caste feeling is hence very strong. It is very much stronger in rural areas than in the urban areas. On the whole, the traditional features of the caste system are ascriptive status, social hierarchy, hereditary occupation, endogamy, ritual purity and pollution, restrictions on food habits and social intercourse, and caste panchayats.